So do you have a Sony camera? Do you like to shoot JPEGs instead of RAWs? I think this video is very relevant for you. So today I'm going to be talking about something called Dynamic Range Optimizer, and this helps to actually give you a nice finished look on your JPEGs by reducing the dynamic range and actually exposing your images more nicely and make it seem like you're shooting RAWs but actually in camera. So DRO is something that is not very well explained, and I didn't really get it until I did some experiments myself, and I thought I'd share the results and teach everyone how to just use this feature that everyone already has. Okay, so what exactly is DRO? So DRO is called Dynamic Range Optimizer. So this is a feature available in all Sony cameras for taking photos and videos if you're not using a log mode. So DRO stands for Dynamic Range Optimizer. So it's not something that increases your dynamic range but actually just optimizes it. So what it does is that it increases the levels of your shadows and your midtones to expose the image better, such that your shadows are not so contrasty in a situation something like this. So currently in this situation, I'm standing in the shade and I'm kind of backlit by the background over there. So the background is really bright, I'm quite dark, and you either usually have to choose between exposing the background properly or your face properly. And when shooting JPEGs, you can't adjust it much in post, so Dynamic Range Optimizer is here to help you by increasing the shadow levels and the mid-tone levels such that my face might be better exposed while still maintaining the nice background that we have there. It might be a bit confusing, but let me show you some samples. So this is a photo of me with DRO on, and this is a photo of me with DRO off. So you can see the exposure on the background is the same, but I'm brighter and I look better. So I'm going to show you what DRO actually does technically, and we are going to show you how to actually use it in the field. Okay, so now I'm going to show you how to use Dynamic Range Optimizer in the field. So we're out here in the field, we are facing a very strongly backlit scene. I want to take a picture of the tree over here, but the tree is super dark. So imagine if I was standing there, I'll be in total darkness. So how I'm going to fix this if I'm shooting a RAW is that it's very simple. I can just increase the shadows in post and I'll be good. But if I'm shooting JPEGs, I can't really push the shadows so much in post because it will make it really bad. So what I'm going to do is use Dynamic Range Optimizer, which is how you're going to do it now. So to activate it, you press Menu. Then you go to Exposure Color, the pink color one, number 6 Color Tone, and D-Range Optimizer. So if you're having an older model Sony camera, it's still there. It's called D-Range Optimizer. Somewhere, just find it. And when you go inside the menu, there are a few settings you can adjust. So there's 2 settings, off or on. So when you go to on, it's either auto or at the different levels. Alright, so I'm going to take a photo of it off, and then you can see that the tree is really dark. So the camera is exposing automatically. I'm in aperture priority. You can see from the histogram here that I'm not really clipping anything at the moment. So this is the full dynamic range of my sensor, and I'm not actually clipping anything. So if I were clipping my highlights, I want to compensate down and not clip the highlights. Because Dynamic Range Optimizer doesn't actually help you bring down your highlights, it actually just boosts the shadows. So as you see, when I turn it on, it's going to boost the shadows. So when I turn on the auto, you can immediately see that the screen has become a bit brighter. So I'm going to take a photo now. So you can see that the shadow areas and the tree looks a little bit brighter, and there's some detail in the tree now. But let's say this is not enough for me and I want it even brighter. So we can use the manual levels of D-Range Optimizer. We can go to level 1. So level 1 is more than auto, as you can see. It has brought up the shadows and the mid-tones a bit more. So I'm going to take a photo at level 1. So if that's still not enough, you can go up to level 5. So let's go to level 5. So what it's done is that you can see it has brought up all the levels in the shadows and the mid-tones. So we have a nicely exposed tree. We don't crush our shadows and we are pretty good. So when you use this, you can also use the histogram to actually look at how your image is being exposed, because the histogram now reflects what is being seen on the screen. So if we put it to level 1, you can see that the shadows are more to the left. And if you put it to level 5, you can see that everything has actually evened out a bit. So you can use the histogram to help you make sure that your shadows aren't being clipped and you're not pushing the shadows too much to the right also, such that everything looks a bit too flat. Okay, so like I said, D-Range Optimizer does not actually help you protect your highlights. You have to do it yourself. So if you see the histogram that you're clipping something, maybe the sky here is a bit too bright, what we can do is just make the exposure a bit darker so that we are not actually clipping, or we are trying to preserve the highlights as much as possible. And then you notice the image is really dark now. So we can turn on D-Range Optimizer to just bring up the shadows. And in this way you can see the highlights are not clipped and we have a pretty nicely exposed image like this. So this is with it on, and let's turn it off and it looks like this. So one thing D-Range Optimizer does not do is it does not automatically bring down your highlights. You have to expose manually to bring down the highlights, so don't clip your highlights and use D-Range Optimizer to bring up the shadows instead. Okay, so one thing to note is that if you are shooting in RAW, you may not want to actually use D-Range Optimizer at all, because now I can see that my D-Range Optimizer is off and my image is a little bit overexposed. The highlights are a bit blown, you can see on the histogram here. So in a normal instance like this, I will actually underexpose a little bit, maybe 0.3 or 0.7, so that the sky is nicely exposed and I still have some shadow detail that I can raise up in post. But let's say if I turn on D-Range Optimizer, I'm going to use a pretty exaggerated setting of level 5. You can suddenly see that everything looks a lot brighter, and when everything on the screen looks brighter, you may be inclined to actually underexpose even more to protect the highlights even more. So let's say if I bring down to -1.3, it kind of looks quite a good image should it be RAW. However, you must understand that D-Range Optimizer when you're shooting in RAW only affects the screen. So in actual fact, when you are taking the photo, it will look like this with D-Range Optimizer off. So when you open it in Lightroom, this is what you get. So now you can see that the shadows are really black, and when you try to increase them, it may not be so good. You might have some noise, and it's unnecessary to expose it so dark because you still have some dynamic range on the right that you can actually expose brighter and still not clip the sky, and you have better shadow detail. So Dynamic Range Optimizer kind of confuses you if you're using RAW. So if you're using RAW, try to turn it off, or if you want, you can just leave it on auto, because auto is very mild, it doesn't affect anything and you still can expose properly. So this is the confusion you have if you use DRO with RAW. Okay, so my recommended settings for normal shooting is basically to leave it off or in auto if you're shooting RAW, and if you're shooting in JPEG, you can leave it in auto or you can use the levels manually. But you must always use the levels manually and don't just leave it stuck on one setting. So when you manually turn it on to level 1, you can see that we bring up the tree quite a bit already, and when we go to level 4 or 5, it is a bit too much. So in such a scene, you should always just play around with your DRO to see what is a good setting for you, because not all settings work for all scenes. So if I leave it on number 3 all the time, you can, but as you change to a different setting, it might look a bit washed out, you might want more contrast, then you might actually want to set it manually. So my recommendation is don't leave it on maximum, leave it on auto, and if you feel like if you need more boost in the shadows, let's say if I'm standing there or you have someone standing there, you know, brighten their face, then you go manually and increase. So you should only use this setting basically when you're in a backlit situation, and don't use it to protect your highlights. So expose properly first, expose for your highlights and everything, and if you feel the foreground is too dark, then only you increase your DRO progressively in levels until you're happy. Remember that every time you increase the level of DRO, you're actually boosting the same image. So you're actually having to increase the noise in the shadows if you increase it too much. So try not to increase it too much. Just enough would be good. Okay, so there's a final option in the Sony cameras that allow you to bracket your DRO. So if you're unsure of what level of DRO to use and you're confused and you need a good shot and you can't like set the settings on the fly, you can use the bracketing. So you can go to drive mode and you go to bracket settings. There's an option for DRO bracket. So DRO bracket comes in 2 options. It comes in high and low. So if you put it to low, it only brackets level 1, 2, 3. If you put a high, it does 1, 3, 5. So I think high would be better because low is too subtle. If you're in such a challenging condition, you might want to have the most flexibility and you can use high. Now we're going to take 3 photos of me with this one. So let's go. Okay, let's review the photos. So this is 1, 3, 5, At 5, I guess I'm still a little bit too dark, so I can afford to increase my exposure a bit. I can blow out the sky a little bit more because I want myself to be well exposed. So I'm going to increase exposure comp by maybe 0.7. Just make sure the sky isn't being blown out. You can see the sky is still pretty okay. And let's take the photo again. Okay, so this is how you take a well exposed image of yourself with a nice background in JPEG. So you can see that I'm quite okay exposed. The background is nicely exposed. It still looks natural because I don't look overblown out. And I don't think I'm actually clipping anything. So this is a technical deep dive into how the DRO actually affects the image. We are in imaging age and we are having a live view, you can see over here. And on the right, we can control the camera so I can explain to you what's going on. So we can also adjust our DRO over here with this convenient control over here. So I've exposed this image properly. You can see middle gray in the middle is actually lining up in the middle line on the histogram. And we can see to the right of it is the highlights and to the left of it is the shadows. So now I'm going to turn on DRO to auto. So once I turn it on, you can see immediately that the shadows are a bit lifted and the highlights are a bit compressed. So this overall reduces your dynamic range, it reduces your contrast and squishes everything back into the middle gray. So this is auto. We can't adjust how much it does it because it's auto. For level 1 to 5, it behaves a little bit differently. So let me show you. So when we turn on level 1, you can immediately see that middle gray and the shadows have increased. And I go to level 2, 3, 4, 5, we can see middle gray has progressively increased and the shadows have also progressively become brighter. So how much brighter, you may ask? We can find out very easily. So with DRO off, we can see that middle gray is exactly in the middle as expected. And when we turn on DRO level 1, you can see everything has shifted to the right. So to find out how much it has shifted, we can just stop down, make it darker. And we can see once we increase it by a third of a stop, we can see everything goes back to the left and middle gray is correct again. So we can know now that DRO level 1 actually brings up our shadows and midtones by a third of a stop. Level 2 and level 3 bring it up a little bit more. And then level 4 will be 2/3 of a stop. I can show you by bringing the exposure down by 2/3 of a stop. And middle gray comes back to the middle. Level 5 would be another 1/3 of a stop. So this is a full stop of correction for your middle gray and your shadows. So when we bring it back to original exposure, you can see that the shadows and middle gray has actually moved to the right by about 1 stop. So the good thing about this DRO is that you can see the highlights are not affected at all. As I go to level 5, level 1, whichever level I choose, it just brightens up the shadows and the midtones, and it doesn't actually do anything to the highlights. So if you have exposed properly, which you should, and not clip the highlights, highlights will still be white while actually bringing up your shadows. So if you use DRO level 5, you may start to see noise in the shadows, which I'll show you in a while. Alright, so I've loaded the images in, so let's look at the images properly. This is the image with DRO off at ISO 100. So you can see the blacks are really clean and the middle gray is clean as it's supposed to be. And this is DR level 1, so you can see that middle gray and the shadows have lifted a bit. We don't really see much noise, still looks pretty clean because it's ISO 100. At level 5, we can start to see, some noise coming in already. Some bending over here. And yeah, at level 5 doesn't look too good. So now let's go to ISO 32000. So ISO 32000, I mean, it looks pretty okay. There's some noise over here, some noise reduction going on, looks a bit funky, but black is still black. The darker areas still are the darker areas, they don't look weird. And middle gray still looks gray, more or less. So at level 1, we can see that it's lifted a bit, but still acceptable. Gray still has noise. And when we go to level 5, you can start to see the blacks really noisy. The darker grays are becoming colorful. And middle gray is also becoming colorful. So this is not ideal, this is very noisy, but this is maximum ISO that my camera can do, 32000, and we are at DRO level 5. So my advice is do not use DRO at level 5 when you're at high ISO. If you're at low ISO, maybe about here, I think it's still okay, still acceptable, not so bad, but at high ISO, I think it's pretty rough. So to wrap things up, Sony DRO is most useful when you're shooting JPEGs straight out of the camera, especially in high dynamic range scenes like backlit portraits where your subject is mainly in shadow but the background is really bright. In those situations, DRO can give you a more balanced image immediately without needing much editing afterwards or messing with raw files. Where I would avoid using it is in higher ISO situations because lifting shadows can also bring up more noise in the shadows. And if you're shooting in RAW, I generally don't recommend using the manual DRO levels. In most cases, just leave it on auto or else you might actually inadvertently underexpose your images. My recommendation is to leave DRO on auto for most day-to-day use, whether you're capturing RAW or JPEG. Auto gives you a more realistic preview of what the sensor is actually seeing and without pushing the image aggressively like DRO level 1 to 5, which can sometimes make the image look artificially bright or overprocessed. It's really designed for sunny scenes with strong contrast and not really low light shooting. However, in these sample images, I have made it work sometimes. If you're not sure whether to use it, you can also use the bracketing functions. So the cameras have DRO bracketing and that's a good way to compare results and select the image that you like. But overall, if you care most about image quality and don't mind doing a little bit of editing, RAW is still the better option as DRO is mainly there for convenience, speed and getting a nicer looking file straight out of camera. Just remember that DRO Optimizer doesn't actually give you more dynamic range, it merely just uses whatever the camera is capturing similar to your RAW file and converting it into a JPEG with better contrast ratios that look better straight out of camera. So if you like this video and I hope you learned something, just join me for the next one and drop this video a like. See you!